I never told my daughter about the storage room in Etobicoke. When she got engaged to a man who owed money on 3 maxed-out credit cards, I made sure he would never find the key. The phone call came on a Tuesday morning while I was drinking coffee in my kitchen in Mississauga. "Mr. Morrison, this is Dave from Secure Store on Dundas. Your future son-in-law is here with bolt cutters. Should I call the police?" I had been waiting for this moment for 14 months. Let me go back and explain. My name is Robert Morrison. I am 68 years old, retired from working as an aerospace engineer at Bombardier. My wife Patricia died 6 years ago from ovarian cancer, leaving me to raise our daughter Emma by myself through her final years of college. Patricia left behind something else, too. Something I kept locked away in that storage room. Something worth protecting. Emma is 33 now. Smart, takes care of herself, works in digital marketing for a tech startup downtown. She got her mother's kindness and trusting nature. Sometimes I think she got too much of it. She met Tyler Hutchinson at a work event in the Distillery District 18 months ago. He was 36, charming, always perfectly dressed in suits that probably cost more than my monthly pension check. He told everyone he was a businessman running a company that helped small businesses with computers and technology. It sounded impressive. Emma really liked him within weeks. I didn't trust him within days. The first warning sign came during our first dinner together at a restaurant in Yorkville. Tyler ordered the most expensive wine without looking at the price, then acted like he was reaching for his wallet before Emma quickly offered to split the bill. I watched his relief. Small, but I could see it. "So, Tyler," I said over dessert, "tell me about this company of yours." "Oh, you know, helping businesses adapt to the modern world," he said without giving real details. "Computer solutions, cloud technology, that sort of thing." "Which businesses exactly?" Emma shot me a look. Tyler's smile got tight. "Well, I'm between major jobs right now, focusing on finding new clients." Between jobs. I had heard that phrase before, usually from people who were between paychecks. Over the next few months, I started noticing things. Tyler always had an excuse when dinner bills arrived. His car, a leased BMW, was always about to be taken away, though he said it was just paperwork problems with the car dealer. He mentioned casually that his apartment had flooded, so he was staying with Emma more often. Within 6 months, he had basically moved in. That's when the questions about my money started. "Emma mentioned you worked at Bombardier for 30 years, Tyler said one Sunday afternoon while watching the Leafs game at my place. "You must have a nice pension." "I get by." "Ever think about investments? I know some people who could really grow your retirement money." "I'm comfortable where I am." He kept going. The questions became more direct, more often. Had I thought about planning what happens to my money when I die? Did Emma know what she would get? Had Patricia left any insurance money? Each question felt like fingers searching for an opening. I called my old coworker, James Chen, who had retired early and now ran a small private investigation business out of Markham. "James, I need you to look into someone." The report came back 3 weeks later. I read it in my study with the door locked. Tyler Hutchinson, married twice before, first wife, divorced after 2 years, left with big debts after Tyler had convinced her to sign business loans that he never paid back. Second wife, marriage ended after 18 months when she found out he had opened credit cards in her name. Multiple failed businesses. Current debt over $200,000 across 15 credit cards and 3 personal loans. No real income in the past 14 months. He was a gold digger, a professional one. I couldn't just show Emma the report. I tried warning her about smaller things, gentle hints that maybe Tyler wasn't quite what he seemed. She got defensive, blamed me for not wanting her to be happy, for not being able to let go since her mother died. The more I pushed, the more she pulled away. I needed a different plan. Patricia had been an early investor in a small tech company back in the 1990s, something to do with phone infrastructure. She had put in $5,000 from her inheritance. The company had gone public in 2008. Those shares were now worth about $2.3 million. That money sat in a trust managed by our lawyer, with paperwork stored in the storage room in Etobicoke, along with Patricia's jewelry, our property deeds, and boxes of financial records. Emma knew her mother had made some investments. She didn't know how well they had done. She certainly didn't know where the paperwork was kept. Tyler started getting more pushy about finding out. It started with casual questions about where I kept important papers. "You should really have everything on computer, Robert. What if there's a fire?" Then he volunteered to help me organize my home office. I said no. He showed up one Saturday with boxes and folders anyway, Emma with him, insisting they wanted to help me clean up. I thanked them and said I would handle it myself. The engagement happened in October, 8 months after they had met. Emma called me, crying happy tears. I congratulated her, hugged her when she came over to show me the ring. It looked expensive. I wondered which credit card he had maxed out for it. 2 weeks after the engagement, Tyler suggested that Emma should have power of attorney for my money. "Just in case something happens, Robert, you're getting older. It's responsible planning." I was 67 and had just finished a half marathon. "I appreciate the concern, but my business is in order. Emma should at least know where you keep everything, your will, your bank accounts, property deeds. My lawyer has copies of everything that matters." His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Of course, just thinking about Emma's future." That's when I started my own records. I bought a small notebook, the kind with a black cover you can find at any Staples. Every conversation with Tyler I wrote down. Date, time, what was said, who was there. Every question about money, every suggestion about getting to my finances, every attempt to keep Emma away from her friends or convince her that I was becoming forgetful and needed managing. January 15th. Tyler suggested I might be getting dementia because I forgot Emma's birthday was coming up. It was 3 months away. February 3rd. Tyler told Emma I seemed confused about my medication when he had never seen me take any medication. February 27th. Tyler casually mentioned knowing a great nursing home in Oakville, showed Emma brochures. The pattern was clear. He was building a story that I was losing my mind, setting things up to convince Emma that she needed to take control of my money for my own good. I took the notebook to my lawyer, Margaret Singh, who had handled Patricia's estate. "Robert, this is concerning, but it's not enough evidence," she said in her office overlooking Bay Street. "He hasn't actually done anything illegal." "Not yet, but he will. What do you need from me?" "I need you to write down everything you're telling me. I need it official, notarized, with dates. If this goes where I think it's going, I want a record that you are completely clear-minded and aware." Margaret nodded slowly. "You are building a legal trail. I'm protecting my daughter's inheritance." I also hired James Chen again, this time for ongoing watching. Every meeting Tyler took, every call he made, James wrote it down. We found out Tyler was meeting with a lawyer of his own, talking about guardianship cases. He was researching how to have someone declared mentally unable to care for themselves in Ontario. The storage room became my safety plan. I told no one about it, not even Emma. Everything valuable, every document that mattered, I kept there. At home, I left just enough paperwork to look normal. House bills, old tax returns, nothing critical. Then Tyler made his mistake. I had mentioned the storage unit exactly once, months earlier, in a casual conversation with Emma about cleaning out old boxes from the garage. "Some of your mother's things are in a storage room in Etobicoke. We should go through them sometime." Emma had nodded without really listening. Tyler had been in the kitchen supposedly making coffee, but I saw him in the doorway listening. 3 months later, in April, Tyler brought it up over dinner at their apartment. "Emma, your dad mentioned a storage unit with your mom's stuff." "Oh yeah, just old boxes, I think." "Might be worth checking out. Could be important documents there. Insurance papers, maybe old investments." Emma shrugged. "Dad handles all that." Tyler's jaw tightened just a little bit. "Right, of course." I knew then he would go looking. James started watching the storage place. Sure enough, 3 weeks later, Tyler showed up. He tried to charm the information out of Dave, the manager, saying he was helping his elderly father-in-law organize things. Dave, bless him, said he couldn't give out any information without my permission. Tyler came back twice more, each time with a different story. The third time, he brought papers claiming he had power of attorney. The papers were fake, badly fake. Dave called me. "Mr. Morrison, I don't want to alarm you, but this guy is really pushing hard. Don't give him anything. If he shows up again, call me immediately." "Will do." Tyler's frustration was growing. I could see it in how he talked to Emma, more controlling, more insisting that I was hiding things from her. He suggested they delay the wedding until your father's situation is sorted out. Emma, confused and hurt, started pulling away from both of us. I hated watching it. Every day I wanted to show her everything, all the evidence, all the proof of what Tyler really was. But Margaret advised patience. "If you show her now, he'll say you made it up because you're jealous or controlling," she said. "He's been building the story that you're losing your mental abilities. You need him to expose himself." So I waited. I documented and I prepared. The break came on a Tuesday morning in May. Dave called at 8:47 a.m. "Mr. Morrison, he's here. He's got bolt cutters and he's trying to break into your unit. Don't stop him. Just watch and keep him on camera. I'm calling the police." I called Margaret first. "It's happening. I'll meet you there." Then I called Emma. "Sweetheart, I need you to meet me at the Secure store on Dundas in Etobicoke. It's important." "Dad, I'm at work." "Emma, please, it's about your mother." She heard something in my voice. "I'll be there in 20 minutes." I drove to Etobicoke with my 14-month-old notebook, James's surveillance reports, and Margaret's legal papers. The police arrived just before I did. 2 officers taking statements from Dave, while Tyler stood by his car talking loudly about misunderstandings. Emma pulled up right as the officers were putting Tyler in handcuffs. "Dad, what's going on? Tyler, what are you doing here?" Tyler's face changed, suddenly desperate and begging. "Emma, baby, your father's been hiding things from you. Important things about your mom's money. I was just trying to help, trying to make sure you got what's rightfully yours." "By breaking into a storage room?" one of the officers asked. "I have power of attorney. He's not mentally able to manage his own business." "That document is fake," Margaret said, stepping forward. "I'm Mr. Morrison's lawyer, and I can prove it." Emma looked at me, her face pale. "Dad?" "Let's go inside," I said quietly. "I'll show you everything." The storage unit was climate-controlled, about the size of a small bedroom. Metal shelves lined the walls filled with carefully labeled boxes. I had organized everything over the years, knowing this moment would come. I showed Emma the financial documents first. Patricia's investment papers, the stock certificates, the trust documents. Her eyes got wide as she saw the numbers. "Mom's investment turned into this over 25 years? "Yes." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because it's not time yet. The trust says you get it when you turn 35 or when you marry, whichever comes later. Your mother wanted you to be established on your own first." I showed her the jewelry next. Patricia's engagement ring, her grandmother's pearls, pieces Emma had thought were lost or sold. Then I showed her the notebook. She read it slowly, flipping through pages of Tyler's questions, his suggestions, his manipulations. 14 months of written-down conversations. Her hands shook. "I had a private investigator look into Tyler's background," I said. "I'm sorry, I know how that sounds, but I needed to know." I gave her James's reports. She read about the previous marriages, the debts, the pattern of targeting women with money. Margaret handed her the fake power of attorney documents Tyler had shown to the storage place. Emma sat down on a box, still holding the papers. "How long have you known?" "Since about 3 months after you started dating." "And you didn't tell me?" "I tried. You got angry. You said I was being controlling, that I couldn't accept you being happy." "You could have shown me this." She held up the investigation report. "If I had shown you then, you wouldn't have believed it. You would have thought I made it up, or that the investigator was wrong, or that Tyler had explanations for everything. He's very good at what he does, Emma. He's done it before." She was crying now, quiet tears running down her face. "I feel like such an idiot." "You're not an idiot. You're kind and trusting like your mother. Those are beautiful qualities. Tyler used them. You let me get engaged to him." That hurt, but she had a right to be angry. "I knew he would eventually expose himself. Men like Tyler always do. They get greedy, they get impatient. I just needed to make sure that when it happened, there was no way he could talk his way out of it. No way he could turn you against me." "So you used yourself as bait." "I used your inheritance as bait. This storage unit, everything in it. I let him know it existed. I knew he would come for it eventually. Margaret cleared her throat. Emma, your father has been writing down everything for over a year specifically to protect you, not just from Tyler, but legally. If Tyler had somehow convinced you to start guardianship court cases, your father has a paper trail proving his complete mental health throughout this entire time. Emma looked at me with new eyes. You thought I might try to have you declared mentally unable? Tyler was building toward that. And if he had gotten you to believe I was declining, if he had isolated you enough from your friends and made himself your only support, you might have thought you were helping me. She stood up suddenly and walked outside. I gave her space. Through the window of the storage unit, I watched the police finish with Tyler. He was still trying to charm them, still trying to explain it all as a misunderstanding. But they had seen the bolt cutters, heard Dave's testimony, looked at the fake documents. They weren't buying it. Emma stood at a distance, watching him too. I saw the moment she really looked at him, saw him clearly for perhaps the first time. The mask had slipped. Without his smooth explanations, without the situation he controlled, he was just a man in his mid-30s with no job, massive debt, and a history of targeting vulnerable women. Margaret touched my arm. The prosecutor will likely pursue fraud charges for the fake documents. With his past history, he's looking at real jail time. And Emma? That's up to her. But you've given her all the tools she needs to make a smart decision. Emma came back inside. Her eyes were red, but dry now. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Always. Okay. Did you ever actually want me to marry anyone? Or have you been waiting all these years for something like this to happen so you could prove you were right to be protective? It was a fair question, one I had asked myself during the long months of watching and waiting. I want you to be happy. I want you to find someone who loves you for exactly who you are, not for what you might inherit someday. Your mother would want the same thing, but you don't trust my judgment. I trust your heart. But you're 33 years old, and you've been focused on your career, on building your life. You haven't had much practice spotting the Tyler Hutchinsons of the world. I have. I'm 68. I've seen more, experienced more. Sometimes protection isn't about not trusting someone. It's about having information they don't have yet. She thought about that for a long moment. I'm angry with you, I know. Not for investigating Tyler, for not telling me sooner what you found. I understand. But I'm also grateful. Because if you had told me 4 months ago, I wouldn't have believed you. And Tyler would still be in my life, just more careful. She looked around the storage unit, at all the pieces of her mother's life and legacy carefully kept safe and protected. You did this all for me. Everything I do is for you. That hasn't changed since the day you were born. The police took Tyler away that morning. He was charged with attempted theft, fraud for the fake documents, and, after Emma gave her statement, criminal harassment. It turned out he had been secretly recording conversations in Emma's apartment, trying to gather ammunition for the incompetency claim. Emma ended the engagement that afternoon. She moved back into her own place, a smaller condo in Liberty Village that she could afford on her own salary. She started seeing a therapist who specialized in relationship manipulation. It took 6 months before she was ready to really talk to me again. We met for coffee at a Tim Hortons near her office. Neutral ground. I've been thinking a lot about trust, she said, stirring sugar into her double-double. About how Tyler abused it, how I gave it too freely, but also about how you trusted me. How do you mean? You could have gone to court, gotten a restraining order against Tyler months earlier. You could have forced my hand, shown me everything, and demanded I choose. But you trusted that eventually I would see the truth, that I would figure it out. You're smart, Emma. I knew you would. I'm also stubborn, like you. I smiled. Like your mother, actually. The therapist says I need to rebuild my ability to trust both others and myself. She says part of what Tyler did was make me doubt my own perceptions. That's what manipulators do. They make you question yourself. So you'll rely on them instead. Yes. How do I know the difference between being trusting and being naive? It was the question she had been building toward, the real reason for the coffee meeting. Trust but verify, I said. Your mother taught me that. When we first met, I was completely smitten, ready to marry her after 3 months. She said yes, but she also made me wait a year. She wanted to see me in different situations, different contexts. She trusted her feelings, but she verified them with time and experience. Tyler rushed everything. They always do. Manipulators can't keep up the act for long. They need to lock down their position before you see through it. That's why he pushed for the engagement so quickly, why he wanted access to my finances before we had even known each other a year. Emma nodded slowly. I've started dating again. Nothing serious, just meeting people, and I find myself looking for warning signs everywhere. That's normal. It'll get easier with time. Dad, I need to ask you something else. The money, Mom's investment. You said I get it when I marry or turn 35. That's right. You'll be 35 in 2 years. I don't want it to change things between us. I don't want you to think I'm only calling because I'm waiting for an inheritance. I reached across the table and took her hand. Emma, you could give every penny away tomorrow and it wouldn't change how I feel about you. That money is yours because your mother wanted you to have security, independence. It's not a test, it's a gift. She squeezed my hand. Thank you for protecting it, for protecting me even when I didn't want to be protected. Tyler was sentenced to 18 months in prison. His lawyer tried to argue that he had been really concerned about my welfare, but the prosecutor showed my 14 months of documentation, Margaret's legal statement, and testimony from Tyler's ex-wives. The pattern was undeniable. Emma went to the sentencing. Afterward, she told me she needed to see it through, to witness the consequence. I realized something, she said. You didn't just protect me from Tyler, you taught me how to protect myself. All those months watching you document everything, plan everything, stay calm when he was trying to make you angry. That's what I needed to see. 2 years later, Emma turned 35. We met at Margaret's office to sign the trust documents, transferring Patricia's investment to her name. $2.3 million, grown from $5,000 over 27 years. Emma looked at the number and started crying. I miss her. So do I. What would she think about all of this? About Tyler? About how I almost fell for it? She would think you were human. She would be proud of how you handled it once you knew the truth, and she would be glad you have this money now when you're ready for it. Emma used part of the inheritance to start her own marketing company. She bought a small house in Leslieville. She gave $100,000 to a charity that helps women escape financial abuse. And she met someone new. His name is David Park. He's a high school teacher in Scarborough. And when I met him, the first thing he did was show me his credit report. Emma told me what happened. He said, I figured you'd want to see this up front. I liked him immediately. They'd been dating for 8 months now, taking it slow. Emma calls me every Sunday. We have dinner together every couple of weeks. The storage unit in Etobicoke is mostly empty now, just some of Patricia's personal items that Emma isn't ready to sort through yet. Last month, Emma asked me to have dinner with her and David. At the end of the meal, David excused himself and Emma leaned across the table. I think he might propose soon, she said. How do you feel about that? Terrified? Excited? Both. That's normal. I trust him, Dad. I verified like you taught me. But I also trust my own judgment now. I know what real love looks like and what manipulation looks like. I know the difference. Then you have my blessing. She smiled, then turned serious. I need to say something about the storage unit, about you keeping secrets. I understand why you did it, but if David and I do get married, if we have kids someday, I want you to promise me something. What's that? Don't keep secrets from them to protect them. Share what you know. Teach them to recognize the Tyler Hutchinsons before they get too close. Protection isn't just about hiding the valuables. It's about teaching people why they're valuable in the first place. I thought about that. About Patricia's investment growing quietly for decades. About my 14 months of silent documentation. About all the things I had kept locked away to keep Emma safe. You're wiser than I was at 35, I said. I had a good teacher. David came back from the washroom and we talked about other things, lighter things. But Emma's words stayed with me. Maybe she was right. Maybe the next generation doesn't need storage units full of secrets. Maybe they need the wisdom to protect themselves, passed down openly, honestly. But I still changed the locks on that unit in Etobicoke, and I still keep the only key, just in case. Because being a parent means hoping your children never need your protection, while making absolutely certain it's there if they do. It means trusting them to make their own choices while giving them every tool to make those choices wisely. It means knowing when to speak and when to wait, when to show your hand and when to let the game play out. Most importantly, it means understanding that sometimes the greatest gift you can give someone isn't rescuing them from danger, but making sure that when danger comes, they have everything they need to rescue themselves. That's what Patricia understood when she made that investment 30 years ago. She wasn't just securing money, she was securing possibility, choice, independence for a daughter she would never meet as an adult. And that's what I understood, finally, sitting across from Emma and David that evening. My job wasn't to shield Emma from every Tyler Hutchinson in the world. It was to make sure that when she met one, she would recognize him, document him, and walk away on her own terms. The storage unit was never really about hiding valuables. It was about making sure the most valuable thing, Emma herself, stayed safe long enough to learn how to value herself.